Hello, and thank you for joining me. I'm Dan, the Rare Coin Man, and I'm here with another video production from rarecoins101.com. This is one video that I had a lot of fun making, and well, I hope you get some enjoyment out of it too. Many of you, I'm certain, are pretty good students of history, and so you already know the United States Constitution was drafted in Philadelphia during the summer of 1787. And as you know, following this, the Constitution was presented to the states for ratification. It required approval from at least 9 states for it to be enacted as the supreme law of the land. On June 21st, 1788, New Hampshire ratified the Constitution as the 9th state, setting into motion the formation of the new American government. On March 4th, 1789, the United States Congress was seated for the first time. A few weeks later, on April 30th, George Washington was sworn in as the President of the United States. There were numerous challenges facing the infant republic, and getting coins issued in the name of the United States was not a top priority. And so, the establishment of the United States Mint and the regulations governing coinage production were not officially enacted until the Mint Act of 1792. So, there were a few years there between 1789 and 1792 when the government was operational under the new Constitution but did not issue any official U.S. coins. During those years, interesting conversations took place regarding the design of future United States coins. The politicians of the period had energetic debates over the basic themes and appearance of the new nation's coins. In just a few minutes, we'll be listening in on an imaginary conversation between several distinguished historical figures who played key roles in shaping the design policy of United States coins. Actually, we're going to be eavesdropping. So, I hope you find it interesting. What do you say? Let's get started. Most experienced coin collectors have learned the first circulating United States coin bearing the image of a U.S. president appeared in 1909 when Abraham Lincoln was depicted on the 1-cent coin. Up to that point, the placement of U.S. presidents on American coinage, especially those still in office, had long been considered a taboo subject. Why was the practice of presidential coinage so totally forbidden in U.S. coinage law and tradition? After all, the monarchs of Europe and elsewhere around the world commonly honored their current leaders on coins. Why did American coinage evolve so differently? The answer goes all the way back to President George Washington's time in office. In 1791, while the Mint Act was being debated, private companies struck coins with President Washington's image, hoping to win government contracts. Here is an example of one right here, a proposed 1-cent coin featuring President Washington on the obverse. Ironically, this particular specimen was minted in Birmingham, England, the country from which the United States had gained independence just a few years prior. In case you're wondering, yes, something like this does have value with collectors, especially in beautiful condition like this one. What you're looking at right here could probably fetch, at least $10,000 on today's market. Due to Washington's widespread popularity and respect, it appeared probable that the final legislation working its way through Congress would mandate his likeness on United States coinage. But documental evidence indicates that Washington himself was firmly against the idea of his image or that of any president being displayed on U.S. coinage. Let's make believe for a bit and imagine how President Washington might have reacted when he was informed of plans to put his likeness on United States coinage.
Mr. President, may we come in?
Yes, come in. But make it quick. I've got a lot on my plate today, and I'm rather busy. Ah, two of the finest gentlemen in Philadelphia. My esteemed Treasury Secretary, Alexander Hamilton, and Tobias Lear, my longtime, most able assistant. What brings you gentlemen here today?
Sir, we realize you're busy, but could we have a word with you about the Mint Act currently being debated in Congress?
Ha! Busy is not the word for it. This new Bank of the United States has been a big headache. Jefferson is upset with me for taking sides with you, Alex. And now all this bickering is threatening to destabilize our already fragile government.
Yes, sir. The feud between Secretaries Jefferson and Hamilton has been quite the fodder for all the newspapers.
Well, as you know, I don't like political parties, but we've got 'em now because of this stupid bank. But I suppose Alex is right. We really do need it. Some people are even calling me a Federalist. And on top of that, Martha is riding my rear end about bringing home too much work from the office. Good heavens, what does she expect me to do? All right, what's up, guys?
Mr. President, we have something here that is going to cheer you up.
Oh, really? What you got? Let me see that. What? What the heck is this? Is this me on this coin? You've got to be kidding!
Mr. President, you are the most revered individual throughout this land. All over the world, your name is mentioned alongside those of the greatest leaders in history.
Oh, shucks. Knock it off, will you?
As you know, Congress is drafting legislation to establish coinage in these United States, and many of your countrymen believe it is both fitting and proper that your image adorn our nation's coins.
What in tarnation are you talking about, Alex? Please, give me a break!
The cent coin you hold in your hands, Mr. President, bearing your image, is also being distributed to members of Congress for their consent likewise. We anticipate a favorable reception due to your enormous fame.
Oh, you've got to be kidding! I don't want my image on a coin. Who thought of this moronic idea?
But, Mr. President, this sort of thing is common practice throughout the nations of the earth. The kings and queens of Europe are exalted thusly. If we ever wish to be on par with...
This is not Europe. Look, gentlemen, I am not your king. You elected me to be your president. I am going to be here for a few years. Then after that, I'm going home to Mount Vernon. And you guys are going to have to find someone else to take my place, because I'm out of here.
Sir, may I ask, why are you so adamantly opposed to this?
As we sat in that hot, sweaty room day after day, back in the summer of 1787, trying to agree on the wording for our new Constitution, the overriding concern was to make sure too much power could not be concentrated in the hands of any one person or group of persons, including the President. We wanted to set forth a concept called ordered liberty, where no one can govern without the consent of the governed. Now, this is a grand experiment, and I'm not sure if in the end it'll work, but we're giving it a try.
I believe I see where you're going with this, Mr. President.
So, if you are thinking about putting my face on government coins, forget about it, because it goes against everything we're trying to establish. I do not want that. There is to be no royalty class in these United States, at least not while I am president.
Sir, many of your allies in Congress will be doubtless saddened by your disapproval. The Mint Act, as is being drafted in the House, calls for a representation of the President of the United States on our coins. What, dare say, are we to tell them?
Well, tell them to remove the clause regarding the presidential likeness and substitute it with an impression emblematic of liberty, or something to that effect. Now that is the image of America we want to convey to the world.
Please help us, Mr. President. Where do we go to find something like this? How did you say it? Emblematic of liberty.
Ha-ha! Yes, I see your point. The essence of liberty is kinda hard to capture on a coin, isn't it? But I have a thought. A few years ago, our friend, Ben Franklin, worked with some Frenchmen on a Libertas Americana medal. That translates to American Liberty. The medal shows some lady with air flowing freely through her hair as to symbolize liberty. There is a freedom cap from ancient times in the background. I suggest we employ something like that for United States coinage.
As you wish, Mr. President. We will take your suggestion to Congress and see what happens.
Well, they had better listen, because I'm gonna veto any Mint Act bill coming to my desk insisting on presidential portraits.
So your position is non-negotiable? You are certain you don't want your image to appear on any United States coins whatsoever?
You've got it right, Tobias. As your president, I am in charge of a representative government, not a monarchy. Someday, maybe someday. Long after I'm gone, and if anyone even cares to remember me. Let's say perhaps on the 200th anniversary of my birthday. Let's see. That would be 1932. If they want my picture on a coin, well, I guess at that point it would be okay with me. A modest 25-cent quarter would suit me just fine.
Sir, that's rather visionary. Well done. Perhaps in the 20th century, you'll be properly honored on an American coin. Well, that's all we've got for you today. Thank you for your time, Mr. President, and good luck this evening with Mrs. Washington. Ha-ha!
By golly. Thanks a lot, Alex. You're so funny. Well, it's time for all of us to get back to work. And tell them to smash those Washington cent dice.
All right, I'm back. While the modern language in this skit differs from that of the 1790s, it's not unreasonable to envision such a reaction from President Washington. Wouldn't you agree? Throughout the remainder of 1791 and into the spring of 1792, the Mint Act was vigorously debated in Congress. Ultimately, Congress agreed United States coins must feature something emblematic of liberty instead of a presidential portrait, just as President Washington preferred. On April 2nd, 1792, the Mint Act, sometimes called the Coinage Act, was passed into law. Some of the key provisions of the 1792 Mint Act were to create the United States Mint in Philadelphia, provide for its chief officers and operations, and specify coinage metals and denominations. The groundbreaking for the new mint took place on July 31st, 1792, as the first federal building constructed under the United States Constitution. Often, I wonder how the appearance of United States coins might have differed from what we know today had Washington reacted with something like a Washington cent. Wow, that's cool, guys. Let's go for it. You know, if events had played out in that manner, it's likely that the evolution of U.S. coinage would have followed a significantly different path. And who knows, the placement of sitting presidents on the nation's coins could have had a major impact on the three branches of government and the separation of powers as we know it, potentially altering the course of history. It's possible, sure. And as we all know, in 1932, in the observance of the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, a new quarter appeared bearing his likeness, and it's still with us today. As we saw from the imaginary skit, old George would have been okay with that. Well, we're done for today. Thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate your time. I sure do. Probably in the next video, I'll be back to digging deeper into value trends of key date coins. But at some point, I might try creating another imaginary conversation relating to U.S. coin history. I sure had a lot of fun doing this one. If you got something out of this video and thought it was worthwhile, please do me a small favor and click the like button. And thank you in advance for hitting the subscribe button. That really does help me to stay motivated. In a few weeks, I'll be back with another video. Okay, until next time, this is Dan, the Rare Coin Man, signing off. Happy collecting!